As we reach the end of the year, I've talked to you all about the top harem, NTR, and romance games of 2025. You all have also shared with me your favorite games along the way and what you think should be Game of the Year. So I wanted to talk about my process for Game of the Year that I have used since the start of 2021 and let you know some of the changes I'm making moving forward. I also want to talk about what happens with games that qualify for multiple categories.
And you have a very clear selection process for Game of the Year.
I do, yeah.
But you only ever talk about it this time of year. And so
I have to remind them.
Well, what I find interesting is so people will discover your channel and get to know you and the parasocial thing that we all do with the internet.
Yeah.
But they won't know about your selection criteria because you only bring it up. So they may know you for like 8 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they
so,
just got
yeah.
here from like January.
Like people, I've seen people ask you, oh, hey, you should do a Game of the Year. And it's like...
It's like, funny you should say that.
Happened for 5 years.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over what your selection process is for Game of the Year?
Sure. Okay, so I use 3 places. I use Patreon, DL Site, and Steam. And so for Patreon, I look at the amount of paying patrons a developer has.
Just the total number.
Just the total number. It's become interesting since Patreon updated and they separated the paying patrons with the actual free members. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Like you have so many free members.
Yeah, I do.
Unfortunately, you don't have nearly as many paying members.
No. Shameless plug here. And then so for DL sites, I look at the amount of copies sold and just that.
Which is not what DL site tracks. DL site actually tracks dollars. So if a game is $20, they multiply what they sold for times the volume sold. You just look at the number of games sold.
I just look at the number of copies sold. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go to DL site and they have a different ranking, that's why.
That's why. Yeah. I have to do a lot of work with that one. And then, so for Steam, I use a lot of things.
Yeah, you're going to read this off the...
I do.
Just read it.
I just read it. Okay, so I look at the rating based on player reviews, the number of reviews, a game's average and peak concurrent player numbers, as well as the total number of followers a game has. And then, if a game is not originally classified as adult content on Steam, I have to factor in if it had a patch or a DL site that restored intended gameplay. And then, to also be eligible for all of these factors, a game has to have had to been released on Steam between December 1st, I'm going to say 2024, and November 30th, 2025.
And that is that can be an early access release or a full release.
Yeah, both count.
So sometimes you have a game will show up in 2 different lists.
Yeah, because it was early access.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And for your Game of the Year, you have 10 categories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as a refresher, I have top romance game, top NTR game, top harem game, top LGBTQIA plus game, top monster game, best girl, best arts in a game, best music in a game, my favorite game, and then Game of the Year.
Okay.
And yeah, those are the categories.
And some of those are empirical and some of those are subjective.
Subjective, yeah. So 5 of the top categories and then Game of the Year are completely empirically based. Empirically.
She has struggled with this word for years, and
I
got to be honest, I intentionally brought it up because I know she was going to do this.
Did I actually say empirically?
Yeah, you did it again.
Empirically
She knows the word. It's wild.
I can write it.
You know what else she struggles with? She struggles if you say, you used to struggle with the developer.
The developer, yeah, because I would say like the developer, da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. I still find myself doing that.
So you have 5 empirical categories.
Yeah, 5, and then plus the Game of the Year.
Top romance, top NTR, top harem, top LGBTQIA, top monster, Game of the Year. That's all data driven.
That's all data driven.
And then best girl, best art, best music, and your favorite game. Obviously, your favorite game is, Yeah,
that's going to be my opinion. But then I also primarily use DL site data and Patreon data and Steam data for all of this. And then I do also use other sources like itch. And because itch doesn't really share too much data or information as much as the other places, I do try to factor in situations that happen, like with a game like My Femboy Roommate. It exploded in popularity on itch last year. And so I do have to take into account.
But it still didn't win your top LGBTQIA game because you didn't have the empirical numbers to back it up.
No, I didn't.
Where if itch like released like rankings or sales numbers, then it could have won. But
yeah,
I think you gave it an honorable mention.
I think
it should have won.
It should have won, but then it was banned by Steam.
Okay, and so I know you've talked to me about how as the channel continues to grow, you've considered opening up some kind of voting, limited or otherwise, to the subjective, like art and music.
Art and music, yeah. And I have thought about that, or possibly creating some type of panel of industry members, kind of like what Jeff Keighley does. But I understand that does kind of create a whole other set of problems, like with what we're seeing with like Cutie Cinderella and the streamer awards. So I don't know if that would be the safest thing to do, but I have thought about it.
I think one of the difficulties with this situation is you've got anyone who is in the industry is going to have a financial incentive to vote in a way that helps them in the industry. That doesn't mean they're going to do it. It just means that they're going to be incentivized to do it. Mm-hmm. And opening things, if you open things up to a pure vote, I know you'll probably talk about that later with flavors. So I see where you're coming from. And I know why you started doing empirical, because you were a young woman talking about adult games.
Yeah, I had to be just factual.
Because otherwise people would just...
be like, oh, well, you think that because you're a girl. Okay. Yeah. I understand. And that's why I stayed all just empirically based. I'm going to have to try to say that just so slowly.
Trauma.
Yeah, basically. But I am committed to staying empirical with the best awards. And that way, at worst, the most popular game wins at the expense of a potentially better one. So opening it up to having open voting would risk people who hate a flavor voting to ruin a category and its reprisals. So I would love to think that people who enjoy NTR would vote for the best NTR game. And only them, but we do not currently live in that reality.
Oh man, so like the anti-NTR people would vote for
the worst
against the, or just wreck it, spoil it.
Yeah.
And then the NTR community would be like, oh, we got to go ruin the romance category, the harem games. So we're gonna go after the furry fans.
Yeah, we have to get back at them, and it's just gonna create a whole war.
Now, to be fair, that would be amazing to watch.
It would be, but we're involved in this industry. So we can't.
What do you mean we? That would be amazing to watch. The Michael Jackson popcorn eating gif. Oh, the furries got involved. It's all over now. All right. Okay.
So yeah, I'll continue to try to find ways to refine my process, and hopefully bring you, the most unbiased game of the year that I can.
Unbiased.
I hope.
We're all biased.
Okay, we're all biased to some extent, but there are some game of the years that, I personally wouldn't play. But, it's hard to argue with facts. So, and that's why I do it.
Let's shoot for transparency, because even in how you collect your data, you don't want to be completely transparent on the exact process, because people game the system.
Very true.
As you continue to grow, there will be a financial incentive for a developer to find out exactly how you compile the data to select and what you value more, and they will target that, because as you grow, there is a financial incentive for that. We've seen developers come back to you after you cover a game and they said, yeah, I sold, 1,000
many copies.
1,000 copies yesterday, where I was selling 10 before that. So that's not
a difference.
Well, that's not huge, but
It's
for
something.
it can be life-changing for that person. I mean, if
Yeah.
you sell the game for $20, 1,000 copies, $20,000.
Yeah, quick maths.
Yeah, well, Steam's got to get its cut, so.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the biases will always be there. So I'll try to be transparent about them as well. Like a publisher just recently had their own Game of the Year awards, and shockingly, many of their games did very well.
You're not going to name the publisher or talk about, what it was?
No. People who know will know, I guess.
Yeah.
But, as for learning how to be better, I can give you actually a recent example.
Oh, yeah.
So I started November with the NTR list, and I was going to do a full NTR podcast and then release a romance list and then do a full podcast on romance. And the feedback that I got actually was that many of you all liked the best of 2025 format that I did and, building up to the game of the year. And so while as much as I would love to take credit for that, it was actually not my plan. And so I retooled my romance video to only include the top contenders for game of the year and then created a new video for top harem games. But, fortunately, it was actually pretty easy because I've spent over a month collecting all of the data from all of the different platforms.
So I know you had the original plan was to release NTR November, do an NTR podcast, pivot to romance, do a romance podcast, because I know you like the juxtaposition of the...
Yeah. I thought, doing NTR stuff and then doing romance,
yeah,
to mess with people.
Yeah, because you're sadist like that.
I am.
But it was funny because I think you put like on the thumbnail, top NTR games of 2025.
Yeah, because I didn't realize.
But that really resonated with people, and it makes sense because, when you did this in 2021, 2022, 2023, you just say this is the top game, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then last year you went with, this is the top game, but these couple other games
did very well. Yeah.
And I think that your audience obviously would like a little bit more.
Yeah, they resonated with it. Yeah.
So doing this moving forward, and you've got plans to expand into next year, you think?
Yeah, so going into, November of 2026, I do want to bring people a video for each of the best categories. So I'll continue with the romance, NTR, and harem, but I'll also add the top monster and LGBTQIA+ video. And that way, you all can all get like an advanced peek at the eventual winner and see, what other games did well that year that, didn't end up as the winner.
Yeah, because, there are like, in this last harem list, very, of course it's popular. It's, harem.
Yeah, it's harem. Yeah.
Harem and corruption are the two most popular flavors.
Yeah, I'm not surprised when those do well.
But each of those harem games is such a wildly different style of game with different focuses other than just the harem. So I really saw in your comments that there was, people love certain games, certain other games. I know which game's going to win, and that game had a popular response as well. Yeah. But there were other games with an equally powerful response. That's
true.
I think providing people these options, you're helping your viewers find, games they may like better that they wouldn't have otherwise got if you just had the top game. So it makes sense. And you were like, why didn't I do this years ago?
I know. It took me so long to just realize, that makes sense. Why wouldn't I, kind of get them ready for this?
Well, especially when people like, you talked about Jeff earlier, he tells you these are the nominees, and he makes a big deal about the nominees. And it's not just because the human voting on the Game Awards, it's only 10%.
Yeah.
So literally,
But it
you could
matters.
have 1 million people vote, but it only counts for 10% of the total vote.
But your
So-
vote matters.
Shut up. so this is why we don't live stream the Game Awards, because you are the cattiest,
Oh, I would be so mean.
meanest person about.
I would be so mean.
Like we watch them together because like we watch Nintendo Directs. Like,
Yeah.
what was the Nintendo Direct we just watched and you raged through the whole the
one
new
about
Mario movie?
I don't want to. No, we're not talking about that. I am so mad about that, and I don't even want to talk about it. I don't.
She's like, I'm not sure I can maintain my no shaming facade.
I really don't. I'm like shaking. I could not talk about it in a positive light.
The reason why Annie is upset is because no studio can make both movies and video games.
Yeah.
And Nintendo has survived as long as it has survived because it looked at itself as a toy company. And because it was a toy company, it was about making fun games, and it didn't have to worry about whatever the latest fad was. Now that Nintendo has decided to be a movie company, there's no way.
Yeah, they're
that it
destroying themselves.
and it's
And it's so sad to watch. It's really sad to watch.
But we're not going to talk about
We're
it.
not going to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about it.
You literally just talked about it, so you.
I have
is
no
all your-
problem talking about it.
I know.
I'm old enough to have seen many companies and things that I love and cherish.
That's very true.
What it's called, enshittification.
Yeah.
You know, I remember
Yeah.
when I liked Star Wars a
Yeah.
long time ago. So, oh well.
Okay, well, going back to the best categories thing, how I'm like retooling my whole video stuff. So I will expand upon that in 2026. And so hopefully next November, I'm going to do all these like top
5
lists.
videos, okay.
Yeah. And so to get people ready.
Top romance, top MTR, top harem, top monster, top LGBTQIA.
Yes.
And no one's going to watch all 5 videos because they're just such wildly different flavors. But that's okay. I don't think you expect... That's probably... You know, most YouTubers make their videos in a way that they expect their core audience are going to watch all the videos. Because you cover so many wildly different flavors, you're
Yeah.
kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit about that.
Well, I see it as I am doing... Is it wrong to say that I'm like kind of doing a service?
No, it's fine. I mean, it's
Like I want to highlight all of these other things.
journalism is about providing, you know, value.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. And long time ago, that's what it was supposed to be about. So you trying to focus on as many flavors as possible shows your commitment to the industry and to the greater community, as opposed to your commitment to YouTube's algorithm. Because if it was
Yeah.
just YouTube's algorithm, you'd find, okay, I'm going to cover
Yeah, I
just
would do
harem
college
visual
harems.
Well, not
Yeah.
anymore. You would have
Oh,
chased
well.
college harems, and then you would have moved to open world 3D games, or you would have moved to
NTR games.
corruption games, or whatever the flavor of the week. It's funny because you used to do a flavor of the week, but it was a different thing.
Listen.
Yeah, whatever the most popular thing is, and you see that, and people will chase the algorithm.
Yeah.
Like the Japan YouTubers are all talking about how
Oh.
Japan is over touristed and there's too many influencers and we're making it worse. The people who have made it worse
Yeah,
are talking about how
they've made it worse.
that's what the algorithm is
of
rewarding
them are
right
talking
now.
about that,
And so
yeah.
they'll move to something else because there's a once again financial incentive.
Yeah.
Just because there is a financial incentive does not mean that an individual will do a thing. But it does mean that individuals, plural, are more likely to do a thing. So,
And it's because I don't have that financial incentive with YouTube.
really, ostensibly, I mean, someday you could be. You do
Someday.
get. Yeah. Hey, you made money on that dispatch video.
I
You
did.
made like $50.
I know.
That's like big money for you.
Yeah, I know. I should go out to celebrate. Have a big dinner.
That's we no longer live in Vietnam. You can't get a nice dinner for $50.
$50. Well, for just me. $50.
Never mind. Have a good time.
I was like, oh, I'm not gonna invite you.
I'm so offended. Telling your mom. All right. So I guess we should talk about like what you wanted to talk about in the podcast.
In the podcast, yeah.
So,
I think we've meandered enough.
okay.
So what I have really wanted to talk about in this podcast is basically your fault.
Wait till I'm drinking out of my
Yeah,
Pikachu cup.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
So one of the hardest parts of this selection process that is not data driven is figuring out where a game falls. Is it NTR? Is it harem? Is it romance? What about a game that has 2 or 3 of these elements? And you were like, okay, sounds like a great podcast topic. And here we are.
All right. I mean,
So-
it does. And this is one of those things. So one of the funny things about you and your mom is that you guys are very task oriented. So
Yeah,
you will see an objective and it's a nail that needs to be hammered.
Yes.
And you hammer it and you move on. Something like,
I think that's why I am really good at that data stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're like, I like numbers. I don't like humans.
pretty much.
And you guys like to really focus in on the task and moving on. And the problem with something like, okay, what is a romance game? What is a harem game?
Yeah.
What is NTR? NTR especially, you just talked about how the definition of it has changed over the years. And it's more amorphous. It's not discrete. And I think one of the things that podcasts are good at is talking about those non discrete things where we can talk about, because we talk about it, we give our ideas. We're not saying this is how it is. We're saying this is what we've seen. And then other people can engage and iterate upon the ideas, and collectively, hopefully we get better. We have
Yeah.
a better understanding. We become a more knowledgeable, community or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're going to be able to define this is what a romance game is, or this is what an NTR game is,
No.
or this is whatever. Even if you could define it in this moment, like NTR, it's going to change. And if you look at your early videos, you give very clear definitions, like you're trying to do that. You're trying to put everything in the harem box, and this doesn't go and that doesn't go. And that's just not how it works.
Yeah.
So it is interesting seeing you evolve as a person a little bit, having a more,
Yeah.
okay, I guess, am I implying your mom isn't involved then? Oh, okay, maybe I'll cut this out.
Yeah.
Don't have her watch this one.
That's fine.
So what do you want to start with?
So I think starting with, what makes a romance game
Okay.
is a good start. Honestly, looking at the list that I had, I kind of went through like almost like a crisis when I was trying to pick out games, because I was like, what actually is the romantic aspect of this game?
Love?
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Yeah. I was hurt in this selection process, because there are some games on this list that I would not find to be romantic. I think a good one is Race of Life.
Are you really going to bring it up?
I'm going to bring it up.
Oh, man. Okay.
I'm going to bring it up.
Okay, this is not her shaming. This
No,
is
it's
just
not.
This is just her speaking from her own personal experience. She is not saying this is a bad game. There are a lot of people that love this game.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that love it.
Is this enough of a disclaimer?
I think it is.
All right.
So going into it,
You hate the MC.
I really hated the MC. He was just a dick to everyone, and he didn't care about anything.
Okay,
He never said sorry to his ex-wife that he cheated on. You never get the chance to say you're sorry. How fucking fucked up is that? You just like, oh, it's just the other girls. It was just sex. It was just sex. What kind of answer is that? And it's like, you're not the one who cheated on her. So you're just like, okay, well, maybe the romantic part is you trying to fix that relationship. You shouldn't get another chance. you don't even get the chance to say sorry, and you sort of have like a heart to heart with her, but it's like kind of like, we were on the downwards trend anyways, our relationship was on the rocky roads, it was gonna happen eventually. I hated that part. And ever since, and that's in the beginning, and ever since that one part, I was like, wow, this guy doesn't deserve anything. And so Race of Life, I know, is a popular game, and that people will have words with that.
So I think this is a situation where, you talk about combination of flavors a lot.
Yeah.
And so in this situation, the way the main character cheated,
yeah,
and the way that the character presents themselves, kind of, alpha, sigma. I
doesn't care what
I don't know what
else
the difference
says.
between those two terms are.
Alpha and sigma?
I'm pretty sure that sigma is just people want to say alpha, but they don't want to say alpha because they're too edgy to say alpha. So they have to come up with their own definition of it.
Yeah.
And it's all, I think it says more about the person than it does about the concept.
I think I would look down more on someone who uses sigma.
Well, if they were in middle school still, it'd be okay. But
maybe
full-grown adults, yeah. So, but I think you have this. They're trying to present. I have played the game as well, and while I know exactly where you're coming from, my experience was entirely different because I saw this as a redemptive arc.
Exactly, and I was like, okay, well, I can see how people may see that as a romantic interaction to have. I just had a strong reaction to that was negative.
And here's what I'll say about that, okay? We see this especially in the harem games. And I think one of the reasons that Race of Life is, you probably put in romance, is because Race of Life is dealing with the interpersonal relationship aspect where we don't see that with harem games. With harem games, kind of harems just exist and they're rarely explained why they exist. It's like some magical thing and you just run with it.
And this one does take into account, people having feelings and, they're people and they have struggles. So I did give that, the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, so people having struggles may be your definition for romance games.
People having struggles?
Yeah.
I did want to talk about that. So is it...
Well, this is going to be a long podcast.
Like, it is. Because I was thinking, like, with a romance, do you want it to come easily or do you want to work for it? How realistic do you want that entire interaction to be? Do you want the struggle or do you want it to just be like, oh, I love you? And,
I think that one of the... we're going to get into more complicated... I apologize.
No, this is... I was having this trouble too.
So I know you like to talk about how video games... adult games are video games. And you try to you try to be like, this is just another way to explore, and this is great. And you really try to treat them like a normal thing, a thing that not every human should have access to. You should have a certain level of cognitive development and emotional and physical maturity probably before you start exploring themes like this. And I leave that to smarter people than me to figure out what that threshold is.
Yes.
But obviously there is some kind of threshold, and there should be people not playing games like this. However, adult games are doing something other than just giving you a video game experience. They are, if it's a good adult game, hopefully helping to fulfill a biological desire, a biological need. You talk about safe and healthy outlets. A cozy farming game is not going to provide you the same, sex and sexuality outlet that an adult farming game is going to provide you.
Yeah.
And how we interact with a game is different because of that. How we consume the game is different because of that. We are going to be more likely to aggressively search for a game that gives us the flavors we want than we are to aggressively search for the cozy farming game we like. We're going to search for both. I think there is more of an impetus to to search for these things. So what does that have to do with making it easy, making it not easy? Well, if we're looking for safe and healthy outlets, and a game is for literally cock blocking us, we may not be as happy with that as the game that provides us easier time. Now, I do think that there is achievement in overcoming adversity, but I think we would be more willing to tolerate a Dark Souls dying over and over again experience in a regular game than we would be, oh, you keep getting rejected over and over and over again. I think that would be amazingly frustrating for a person looking to explore sex and sexuality, unless it was like a chastity thing or something like that.
Well, that's funny that you bring it up. There's an NTR game that we're going to be talking about where you do actually, you're isekai. No, you're not isekai, but you live that like a week or so, that you live that week over and over and over again as you watched your loved one like fall more and more and more. So but that's a narrative device for an NTR game.
So I think all of these games, harem, NTR, romance, whatever, they're all delivering something more from a sex and sexuality standpoint, hopefully delivering something more than we're going to really get from a mainstream game. Some games touch on that. Cyberpunk absolutely does touch on that.
Oh, yeah.
But think about what people complained the most about Cyberpunk was not being able to date. Oh, if you play a girl character, you can't romance Panam. If you play a male character, you can't romance Judy. Yeah. That's what they were complaining. They were complaining about not having access. And from a narrative standpoint, from a story standpoint, that's more realistic and that makes sense. But from a human looking to explore their sexual outlets, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
And I think we should acknowledge that. We should, we can say, yeah, it's video games and yeah, it's normal, but it is doing something more than just, okay, here's the latest Harvest Moon, which you're very excited about. You were way more excited about the farming games that had the sexual content because I think you understood that it was, you're like, of course.
Yeah. But that every time a farming game comes out, everyone is always asking, hey, can you romance them? Hey, can you romance this guy?
Usually it's like, yes, but it really feels like in the farming games, they are just all of the characters are becoming in mainstream farming games. They're becoming more and more androgynous. They're they're less and less,
Yeah, for everyone.
Like I remember in an early Harvest Moon, like there was one character who really liked wine, so you'd give her a lot of wine, and as part of her story, it was kind of implied that she was an alcoholic. You would never see that in a modern, farming games. That's too edgy.
Yeah,
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Realistic. You're like, I'm basically your pusher at this point. Oh. So, I do think that, I think that we want a challenge, but we also there's probably some sweet spot of ease of access with the challenge as part of that romantic arc.
Yeah.
Look at Quickie. That's another game on your romance list, right?
That is another game, yeah.
That should have been a harem game.
It should have been.
And
spoilers. Yeah,
spoilers. So we will say when it's safe, and you can put in the thing for. So let's talk about this, okay?
Okay, sure, yeah.
Quickie,
because it was wild.
Quickie had all the potential to be a Game of the Year candidate
contender
because its gameplay is fantastic.
It was so much fun to play. I got so distracted by the actual hotel management aspect of it that I literally forgot about the girls. I was like, oh, right, I had to go romance them. Okay.
Every time I start a new run of Fallout 4, what do I say?
I don't know.
What do you remember? I'm like, this time I'm not going to spend all my time building settlements.
Yeah, doing that, and then you end up doing that.
And like this time. And so for me, the settlement building is more fun than the actual Fallout game is, which probably says more about the quality of the Fallout game than it does the quality of the settlement building.
If you just want to stay in that one little area
or the other areas, I just really like hanging around with Preston Garvey. He's
I've heard he's really good. I hear everyone loves him.
So, but
Quickie
was a harem game.
It was.
It was supposed to be a harem game. Mm-hmm. It is a very romantic harem you were building up. And the characters, one of the problems with harem games is a lot of times as you are collecting characters like Pokemon, because that's what harem games do, I guess you'll talk about that later, is that they don't interact with each other. In Quickie, the characters were even interacting with each other.
Yeah.
Not every character, but there was an effort made that they didn't exist in a vacuum. Mm-hmm. And then you get towards the end of the game, and your mom shows up, and it's like, nope.
She's like, you actually have to choose one girl out of all of these girls, and you're left with just one girl, and then you have to either ghost all of the others or meet them in real life and have them cry at you.
And they ugly cry.
And it's just so, it was so sad. It was so disappointing because, like, you guys, you should have had a harem ending. How much better would that game have been received?
You could have done all of that and then just have a harem ending.
Yeah, I don't understand.
And it
like,
really,
okay, fine, yeah, choose one of the girls, fine, but have the option for the harem.
Or if you're going to do that, you need to foreshadow, you need to communicate, you need to.
Or that, yeah.
Imagine if Quickie had done this at the beginning. They're like, you can only choose one girl. Mm-hmm. How much less popular?
Oh, it would have been much less popular.
And so it's almost like the game deceived
its customers.
Its customer base saying, we're going to give you a harem experience. We are showing everything that makes it seem like a harem experience. We have, all of this is building towards this is a harem game.
They even give you an achievement once you, because I romanced all of them just to see if there was an actual harem ending. I almost cried watching the ending. And then you get a Steam achievement for like unlocking all of them, and I was just like, okay, so they gave an actual achievement. So
you're so emotional this podcast.
I am.
You're just like you have a lot to share.
I've been thinking a lot. I have to get it all out of my chest, or off my chest. But yeah, so you had that Steam achievement, and I was like, okay, so there has to be a harem ending if there's a Steam achievement all the way at the end, but there's not.
Keep looking. Maybe it'll show up.
Yeah, I know. They fucked us.
It's like when we watched the Rat Cracker together. One of these times, the Rat King's going to win.
One of these days.
One of these days.
Yeah. They really need to make a rendition that, one of the Rat King wins.
I can only hope. Your mom and I just went and saw a version, and one of the things I like about the Nutcracker is it keeps updating, and the mice were doing like TikTok dances. And
that's so gross.
I
know it's just it was kids, right?
Yeah, well, no,
so it made sense.
The Nutcracker is one of those ballets that a dancer can do throughout their life. Mm-hmm. There are roles that you can do as a 6-year-old. There are roles you can do as a 60-year-old. There are roles, and then all the way through. And the mice are generally teenagers. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that they would have wanted to do that because you generally have children, and you don't need to do a whole breakdown of the Nutcracker. So
I don't, but I'm glad you realized that on your own.
Yeah, well, autism's a hell of a drug. I noticed eventually. Wow, this person is completely bored. How long have they been bored about this?
A while.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
Anyways, so it is good to see. People bring new things and do new things, and yeah, Quickie was it
was a mess of an ending.
Yeah,
fun game though, pretty fun game. Yeah.
So what else you got on the romance you want to talk about? I don't think we have to hit every game, but we talk about themes, because otherwise it's going to be a 6-hour podcast.
Yeah, I know. Well, looking at this, I do have kind of like Chasing Sunsets, Price of Power, and Krage Life. Mm-hmm. And I think those three kind of focus on the more
wholesome,
like wholesome, traditional romance novel kind of aesthetic. I mean, okay, fine, Krage Life is not romance style.
Chasing Sunsets your sister?
Jesus. Yes.
That's traditional. Traditional from an ancient Egyptian standpoint.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
all right.
Traditional. But I mean, you can also get with that other girl, Mallory. And that's who I liked. I liked her better than the sister. But anyways, you're focusing.
Just think about how less deformed our babies will be.
Exactly.
Do they ever make? There's so many of these incest games, right?
Yeah.
Do they ever make a game like that actually deals with the chromosomal issues of interbreeding?
Oh, I was going to make a mean joke about somebody's art. Can I make it?
No, let's not. Come on.
Then no.
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
Then no.
Look how catty she is, this
I know.
podcast. This is crazy.
I didn't mean to, but I was like, oh, that would have been really funny to say.
She's like a middle schooler. It's like, what's going on here? It's like talking shit about my TikTok dancing rats and talking shit about the poor race of life guy. People like that game. And you're like, this guy doesn't deserve happiness. It's got a lot of anger.
But so going back to the 3 games, a more wholesome kind of style. You do have to, work for it. Like with Price of Power, you go through a lot of struggles with your relationship. And it's like a first time love kind of situation, especially also with Krage Life. It was sweet seeing them together. And, those are the kinds of romance games that I personally can see the romantic aspect of them easier.
Okay, because they resonate with you better, whereas Race of Life did not resonate with you.
No.
But you at least were impartial enough, at least up until this moment, to say, okay, because you're not looking at these are my favorite games. You are looking at the data, and the data shows that, Quickie is very popular, Race of Life is very popular, Karate Life is very popular, and that's cool.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I think we could talk about law school. Law school is interesting because you don't really get to see the romantic interactions and aspects of that game until like episode 2 and 3, because the first episode is really rough.
I think law school is more of an interesting case study if we're looking at how the college flavor is trying to evolve to stay relevant.
Yes.
Because if people were just consuming the being a dick college kings type of game, they were still just consuming that, you wouldn't see the games change.
No, but you can definitely tell that law school was trying to do something different.
Yeah.
And eventually by episode 2 and 3, he kind of like, I don't know, the whole law aspect that he tried to do in the first episode is kind of lost by episode 2 and episode 3, where you could just like skip entire classes and essays and, exams about law and still be a great student. So I don't know if he tried to do too much and then had to rear it back a bit to be like, oh, this is just a college harem game.
Well, there is a feedback loop going on because these are Patreon projects. So what happens is you get patrons, and the patrons are telling you what they like, sometimes explicitly, but also with their money.
Yeah.
So, I put out this update and I'm getting way more patrons. What was different about this update than previous updates? And they're responding to that. Sometimes they respond in the right direction. Sometimes it's not. It's not an exact science. It's there is room for errors, and you see developers stumble sometimes and go in a different direction.
Yeah, all because of patrons.
You liked the game Myst, and their sequel Children of Morn. It is obvious that developer went in a different direction than the existing fan base wanted, and it has not worked out, and it's not clear if the game's going to finish now, and that's unfortunate because they're a good developer. Yeah,
I liked Myst. I liked the whole aspect of it.
Well, you liked it had game. You were playing. Oh, thank God! It has gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was during the time where everything was fucking visual novels, and I was like, yes. I can do things in this one.
I have Japanese RPG Maker games. I have Western visual novels.
Yeah.
And
Myst.
So
it stood out to me.
It's funny because people complain in the comments about that. They want more visual novel games, and I'm just like, I'm listening to you. It's like they don't want. I'm sorry, they want less visual novel. They want more gameplay, and it's like listening to you. Yeah, you're like, So, and then there's certain games like it'll be in the harem one.
In the
Romantic
one.
Escapades. You were like,
okay.
that was your favorite game last year, and you're like, oh, this is great, and it's open world and everything else, and your audience just didn't play. I think it was just a culture gap.
I think it was,
because it's an open world. It's everything they say they're asking for.
Yeah.
It's a harem. It's a male main character.
Yep.
You have all of these different characters to interact with in an open world. It's got crafting.
Yeah, it's got mining,
got harvesting.
crafting.
It's got all of these things. And Westerners just do not play this game compared to people from the East. It's wild. How you're like, oh yeah, this is my favorite game. This is great. And
they're just like, who?
Yeah. What? Huh? How? So yeah, but I mean, and yeah, it is definitely culturally not, it doesn't resonate like a Being a Dick, because all Being a Dick was, you know, that 80s, 90s, you know, high school, college, coming of age, you know, American Pie, Porky's, you know, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. That type of thing. So there was that's what was resonating. And I got to tell you, I think Race of Life taps into that. I think it's definitely not a college game, but if you look at the how the characters look, the male character is definitely, everybody's a little bit older. Everybody's a little bit, but it's the same. So as opposed to a coming of age for the first time, this is finding love again. And if you look at how the love is developed and how the characters interacted with and how the game unfolds, it is very similar to a college harem format. It's just doing it with older characters to stay out of trouble with Steam and to appeal to a slightly more mature audience. As the industry hangs around, people will get older that are playing it. So I think it's a similar kind of vibe and a similar kind of feel.
Okay.
So where law school, you know, wants to stay kind of in the college situation, I think we're seeing more games that are. What was the game that literally went from a school setting to an office setting? And
Lisk.
Yeah.
You
knew that one away.
Yeah, I remember that one because I had to quickly play the Steam version because I was like, oh fuck, it takes place in an office, so I had to quickly get like footage of that. Yeah, because that was wild. Seeing everyone, he has like I think he keeps his like college football thing on, and he's like, yeah man, I'm gonna go print some papers now. It's like, okay. We're doing that, huh? Okay.
And it is watching developers respond to censorship and the threat of censorship definitely is unfortunate, because it clearly makes the games less than they could have been. It doesn't guarantee they're going to be worse, but it does make it more likely that it's going to be worse. So that's unfortunate.
It is.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about next? Harems or NTR?
Do you want to transition?
Transition.
Transition.
Do you want a transformer?
Transform into harem?
You've got that Transformers Dragons baseball shirt.
I do. Yeah. I don't really. I mean, Transformers are okay, but it was like either that or like Stripes, and I was like, I think I'll take the cool one.
You don't want to wear one of the beauties.
No,
jerseys?
No, I did not. No.
Like, those shades of pink don't work on me.
Also that, I would look like a shrimp.
I think they call them prawns here.
Oh, true.
You'd look like a prawn.
I'll look like a prawn. Okay.
All right. So
we can transfer...
harems.
Harem.
And I think people have a better idea about what a harem is.
Yeah, I don't know if we can talk too much about it. I mean, it's like... The harem ones are basically like you have the games that are you get the people and you don't really expand upon who they are, or it's just kind of like a checking the box kind of thing, like Aurelia. Like that's definitely a harem game where you are checking the box, you are doing the tasks that they have for you, and then you get sex in return. It's kind of like the Love and Sex Second Base.
Yeah.
So it's just a box to check, which is fine because that goes into the getting them all kind of
in Love and
aspect
Sex
to harem
Second
games.
Base's defense, and it's probably one of the reasons it's one of the better harem games out there because of this. It does I'm dying over here.
It's okay.
It does do a good job integrating the characters in the harem with each other. They are interacting with each other.
That's true.
There's jealousy. There's risk of losing the relationships if you don't do it just right. And I think when you interviewed the developer, he said he did that intentionally. He said he wanted people to work for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because he's sadistic. I gotta say, the bear attack.
Oh,
and how you have the bear bell put in the game because of you. I do find it fascinating that, years later, we are now seeing a bear crisis in Japan. And it's obvious that Love and Sex Second Base is happening in a Japanese-influenced world. So you go into the wilderness and there are bears and everything else. But there's been 13 people that have died so far this year. It is wild.
Yeah, I saw a news article. And it had a picture of this little cute bear, and they're just like,
that is not the bear. That is not the bear. That's the problem. Yeah. I lost my wedding ring a couple years ago. I took your mom to Aizu. You've heard this story. I took your mom to Aizu Wakamatsu, and we were up there, and we went. And this was right after Japan was opening up from COVID. Being shut down. But whatever. Sorry. It's fine. You're not going to make money anyway. There were big, huge signs. So we wanted to go to a shrine and graves of the royal family there, and there were these big, huge signs saying, "Don't go any further. There are bears here. You will be eaten." And I'm like, "No, you're supposed to go. It's open. Everything else." And your mom was like, "We are not going any further." Yeah, she's like, "Well, I'm not going any further." So I'm like, "Oh, you're not going in." Yeah. That was a mistake. And and then I'm like bolting in the other direction. He fell down.
A twig snap.
No, it was the twig snapped, and then birds flew, and there was this big ass shadow. So it was either a very large person or a very, and I was out, and wow. My old ass fell down the hill, lost my wedding ring. It was great, and your mom still gives me crap for that. So,
it's hard not to. It's so funny.
Love and Sex Second Base, being prescient with the dangers. Of course, in their game, it's a big ass grizzly bear. So, I mean,
okay,
but it's still a bear.
Yeah, it's still a bear. Make it a polar bear. It's still a bear.
No, I think the grizzly bear is the most terrifying of bears.
That's true. They're ginormous.
They are.
I think the Japanese bears are kind of just like little cute bears.
Well, there's a brown bear and there's a black bear, and they're still bears. Okay, they're not.
Yeah.
So
they're not nicer because they're smaller.
So in the harem thing, we just talk all about bears.
Listen.
So technically, shouldn't that be in like the LGBTQ section?
Bears. Yeah.
But
I hate you. That took me a second too. I was like, oh yeah, because furry, but no. No, he's walking away. Wait, are you refilling water? Hold on. Little water break.
So what else do you have to talk about harem? I think we all know what it is. It's such a topic that everyone knows about at this point. So I don't know how to intelligently speak more upon it. I think when we talk about the interaction of the things together, is this actually a harem game, or is this more of a romance game?
Okay, true. So there are harem games on here that do kind of have the romance aspect, but also an NTR aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Desert Stalker. That is a harem game, obviously.
Yeah.
But it also has romantic aspects, and it also has the Notori/Netarase aspect as well.
I really think that
it is classified as romance on Steam. That's
okay,
why
listen,
I say
so
that.
many things are classified as romance on Steam. That's not even I think that so if Desert Stalker was focused on relationship building and the intimacy and all of that, like you were talking about with a Karage Life or with a Chasing
Price of
Sunsets.
Power. Yeah, Chasing Sunsets.
Overcoming adversity, finding true love, yada yada, whatever. And it was still in that harem kind of environment, that would be okay. But that game isn't about that. That game is about smashing and defeating your enemies and building up a literal stable of women. Okay.
All right. Fair. That's fair.
So and people love it, and it's great, and it's definitely it's definitely tapping into something more visceral that
Definitely.
we don't often see in this space.
Mm-hmm.
Because generally, violence and horror and fear and scary, people interact very differently with that. So
Yeah.
it's found a good way to do that, and fans of it's really resonating with, and that's awesome. But I don't think it's romantic, and I do think that the Notori and the I guess you could call it Netherite. I don't really see it as Netherite. I don't see other people in a game getting sex as fundamentally an NTR thing. I know there is a view about it that way because we live in a world where
again, this is all about perspective.
yeah, and I get that, and I understand how it can be, but I
Yeah.
do not think it's intrinsically part of it. Now, if it's a thing where it's a voyeuristic thing where these two characters are interacting with each other and the MC is watching them, then there is
I do think there is some of that in there.
But I think that there is, and all of these games are intrinsically voyeuristic, whatever.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is room for, once again, this is not discrete. There's room for interpretation, and I think if there was more of a focus on like a humiliation aspect of like stealing a loved one or losing a loved one, I think that would push Desert Stalker more into that NTR kind of category. Like there are games, there are harem games like Leanne, older, where you have a party of characters. It's a strategy game, so of course I've played it. Where you have a party of characters and they can be kidnapped, and you have to, or you can in back and forth and everything. You have to do things to protect them, and that's definitely a harem game. But that's definitely a Netherare threat.
Yeah.
And I think that is probably more what we'd be talking about than Desert Stalker. I think that, like, for example, you talked about Love and Sex Second Base. There are entire characters with Netherase plot lines.
Yeah,
where,
true.
Summertime Saga, obviously a harem game, has themes like that. So I think where Desert Stalker, I think it's more of a byproduct of the narrative and the story as opposed to fulfilling a flavor. But once again, my interpretation, our interpretations on Race of Life, very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah, I know. I almost punched you when you were talking about it.
Yeah, I was like, what did I do? I'm just standing here. Listen, there are things that I do to have done on this podcast that should get me punched, but that is not one of them.
Okay.
Not endorsing violence.
No.
Especially to myself.
Okay, so do you want to transition to NTR?
We can. The one last thing I'll probably say that you brought up is a harem game that has done romance well.
Oh, okay.
The game that you liked, 2023. Your favorite game of 2022.
Was it Project Passion?
No, Paradise Lust.
Paradise Lust. Oh, yes. Top. What was that? It was
I don't remember.
Oh, it was my 2023 top romance game.
Okay, and what it's like I thought it was your favorite game 1 year too in a previous year. I think it was. Maybe not. I was wrong. My bad.
Okay, we looked into it.
Yeah.
He was wrong.
But that was a game where it was a harem game.
Yeah.
Absolutely a harem game. No question about it.
No question about that.
But it was also a romance game.
Yeah.
And you can do both.
You have to, in my eye, you have to make a likable main character.
Now,
he was likable.
But I think,
to me at least.
But I think it is a stronger romance game than it is a harem game. Like Love and Sex Second Base is a stronger harem game than it is a romance game. They do both. Okay. You can say, well, it has the tag. I'm sure they all have the romance tag.
Yeah.
I think, I know you're going to talk about a game that did kind of transcend the two categories. I think we'll talk about that towards the end.
Okay.
But yeah, it's.
Oh, yeah.
But it is clear that all of these games are doing these, archetypes to some degree. The romance, of course, it's some degree of romance. If you have multiple characters, there's at least an implication that there might be a harem. If you have a character who is a a rival in some degree. You are possibly having some type of NTR. So so we all it's how does that come forward? So
yeah, how does that transfer into the game?
Okay, so moving to
NTR games.
Every woman's favorite flavor.
I don't know what to say about that. I mean,
just own it.
Yeah, just own it. All right, sure.
Go read a romance novel if you don't believe me. Any romance novel.
Yeah, there are a lot that do
any romance novel
that have that theme. Yeah. Okay, so going to NTR games, how do you want to do this? Because NTR, we have Netterare, Netterase, and Notori. And do we want to split those three? Or do we want to kind of talk about each of the games or kind of, I don't know. Because I have little sections for this one, but I don't know if you want to go into it like that.
Do you remember how I talked about how she likes to put everything in a box?
Oh, no, I did, didn't I? Fuck. All right, well, I don't know what to do now.
So
my notes.
One of the things that we talk a lot about when we talk about this is that perspective comes into play.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And so a lot of times the only difference from a Notori game and a Netterare game is
perspective.
Is how is the narration unfolding. Yes, you are more likely to have humiliation in certain situations and than others, but really it comes down to who are we seeing this from? How is this being presented to us?
I also think it's who we relating to.
I think
it becomes more of a thing for me because most of these games are from the male perspective, and so you are going to relate to that more because you are the main character.
I think how we present what happens is also, like, for example, you have a character, you have tragedy happen to them. That is a shortcut to get you to feel for them, to identify with them. John Wick.
Yes.
In the beginning. You tolerated him doing a level of violence and atrocity because of what happened to him and how it was presented to you.
Yeah.
So you may not have tolerated that level of hyper-violence under other circumstances.
I was thinking I should tell him about the main character in Race of Life. Go get him.
Well, no, but that's the thing. But here's the thing. And so the main character in Race of Life was presented in a way that had you have a visceral reaction to, where that was not the intended way to present the character.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, he was trying to make the character seem likable.
Yeah, no,
not
I get
your
that
reaction.
Yeah, no, I got that's what they were trying to do, but it just did not work for me.
You know what was going through my head as you were just ranting about that? I was like, this is why more women don't play these games, because obviously they are getting something from the experience that I just didn't even notice. I mean,
I know,
because in my mind, cheating happens in all. It's an implied aspect of the harem game, because they're not telling them about it. They're not just
I know.
It's like Sherman's March through women. It's not even. There's no kindness or.
That's true.
Or politeness or anything else in some of these cases.
In some of the cases, but I do like the harem games where you can have the option to play as the nice guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know what we called those? I could have had a harem game. Anyways, you're like, oh yes, the harem formed on its own and then adopted me at the end. It was wonderful. I was kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, that would happen. Yeah.
Oh man. But to be fair, Otome female-led harem games are like that in a lot of cases. So that makes sense that you see it that way.
Yeah, because I read so many of those that I think I'm just used to it.
Because you have even in the romance novels where the female character has a cohort of men surrounding her to some degree. She's not doing much to like actively, they're just like throwing themselves at her. So from your perspective, that makes a lot of sense. But if you look at the more male focused ones, there is an active component going on.
Well, I did say at the beginning that there is, I think, a gender thing where I usually relate to more of the female main protagonist than the male main protagonist, especially with NTR games.
But not female protagonist games. That's the interesting thing, because those female protagonist games, the female character is presented very differently than deuteragonist female characters in a male protagonist games.
Yes.
I had to remember the word.
Deuteragonist, yeah.
And so, and that's interesting, because I didn't know, like, Seeds of Chaos, and you're not the only woman to have said this. You see the female character as kind of the main character.
Yeah.
And for me, that when you first said that to me, I thought that was wild.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense, because you're finding a way to identify. And it's not just because she's a redhead.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's not just the only reason.
Well, because you've told me that they're fake redheads, because the redhead, am I outing you here?
No, you're
because
not.
the redheads in these games don't have hair like red-haired people have.
Yeah, they have the red-haired people that it's dyed red hair, which is fine, but it's dyed. Okay. I mean, I don't know if I can talk, because my hair's red, but it's like copper now. It's like more brown.
As you get older, I used to be blonde. It's just, as we get older, I know. You can look at early pictures. You've seen early pictures.
No, I've seen early pictures. Yeah. It's just I just all see gray.
It's just gray. It's, okay. It's just gray.
It's fine. That's just life. My hair's more brown.
It's aging.
Yeah.
We all have to face it, except for, I guess, Peter Thiel. He's going to live forever.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe Zuckerberg too. He's on the plan as well. So we'll see how it goes. All right. So is that it for harem?
Yeah, I thought we were in NTR.
Oh,
we had transitioned into NTR, and then we kept talking about harem. So now we can talk about NTR.
No, I thought we talked about NTR. We did talk.
What? We did not talk about NTR yet. Right. We talked sort of about it, but then we went back to harem.
I think we bounced back. No, we didn't bounce back. We just talked.
If anything, this proves that all of this is
it bleeds
connected
into each other. Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, right. That's fine.
So I think
it's gonna be hard to do the timestamps.
I think the Netherase flavor does seem to be different than a pure Netherare and a Notori, because
definitely, because then you also have other people, and then
because in the Netherare, the pure Netherare, you lose the girl.
Yeah.
In the pure Notori, you take the girl. And Netherase is a much more amorphous kind of.
Yeah.
It is not.
Everyone's happy.
Well, and as long as the dynamic maintains, oftentimes the wheels fall off and it turns into a Netherare situation.
Okay.
So where it is, everybody's having a good time to some degree, but then things
you do see a divergence.
The center cannot hold. So I think that there is a masochism to NTR that we are less likely to see in a harem experience, in a romance. And there is a sadism to Notori. I don't think we have Notori that there isn't some degree of sadism to.
Oh,
There's
definitely,
a sadism in Notori that we sometimes see in the romance games, and we sometimes see in the harem games, but I don't know if you can have Notori without some degree of sadism.
Well, we could talk about Academy Love Saga, Tennis Angels EX, that had, it had some romance, but it also mainly had the harem and Notori flavors. Yeah. And so you do kind of get, especially because it's the ugly bastard flavor, and you do kind of get that sadist, masochistic kind of feel from it.
And even in the Netherase, there is still a masochism because there's this humiliation aspect sometimes, or there's this, I guess there's this core, whatever you are providing the girl in the relationship, that is not enough, so the girl is with somebody else. Or whatever the girl is providing the guy in the relationship, that is not enough, so the girl has to go do this for the guy's entertainment. Either way, there is a inadequacy in the relationship that Netherase is attempting to overcome, attempting to resolve. And that still feels masochistic. That still feels, because we're saying that you're not good enough, or the character you're dating is not good enough.
No one is good enough.
Somebody's not good enough. And so there is a darkness in all of those forms, that I think that is what people have the visceral response to. That they're like, this is not right, this does not feel right, this is not how things should be, which is why they so aggressively push back against the NTR flavor, because they're having that. Not only are they having a disgust response, I think it's something more than just a disgust response. Because
something deeper.
Look, if a game has gay sex, okay, a person's going to have a disgust response to it.
Yeah, but they're going to move on.
And they're going to move on.
Yeah.
Because
NTR
they
haunts
don't
them.
move on.
Yeah.
and so something else has to be going on there more than that. And we can talk more about this when we do a full NTR episode. But I think they're probably anthropological flowbacks, and I'm sure you're going to have things from 1,000 years ago. I've seen the notes you have for that episode. So spoilers.
Yeah.
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy.
So, but it is easier. We rarely have a romance game and an NTR game. Or what was the closest one you said that had romance in it? Was Turning the Page? What was it?
Turning the Page. Oh, okay. So Turning the Page is interesting because I found, from my perspective of that game,
it was a romance.
I found it to be a romance because the ending that you can get with the guy that you cheat with, you can have a little family at the end.
This poor abandoned main character guy, forget him.
Yeah, forget him. And so from my perspective, I didn't really see that as a Netherase game. I saw it as, I don't know, just, I guess, a cheating game. Yeah. But I guess it was fine.
Oh, so she's okay to cheat, but the racing guy's not okay to cheat?
Hold on.
Now you see the hypocrisy inherent in the system. You see this? You see this? So feel bad. Don't feel bad when you want to shame a game. Don't feel bad when you feel bad about a flavor. It's okay. We all do this, including this one. So don't feel bad. Speaking to your audience.
Make them feel better. It's okay.
I'm just pointing it out. I'm comfortable with my hypocrisy. You're the generation that likes to pretend you're not hypocritical.
Yeah, you're right. Let's see. But yeah, Turning the Page, I did find that kind of to be romantic. But also, there was a game that I was actually going to put on was it the romance list, or where was my? Yeah, I think it was romance. Hold on, I have to get my notes. Okay, there was a game called Game of Hearts that I was going to put on my romance game because
it's not out yet, right?
It's not out?
Isn't it out in Steam in December?
Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. But it's been doing well on Patreon, and I think it's possibly on itch.
But it'll qualify next year since it releases in December, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh.
I think the reason that's why you took it off.
This was back when I didn't have
the release
date in mind, and also it wasn't in line with the...
Back when it still said 2025 and it wasn't December of 2025.
Yeah, okay. This was way back when. But anyways, there was a Game of Hearts, and I found that to be romantic because I liked how you, as the male main character, could choose to be the nice guy again. I think it goes back, for me at least personally, I think it goes back to, can I have choices to be a good guy? And if I do, then I am more, I'm going to like it more.
Having flashbacks to your original review of Being a Dick.
Yeah. Dick or chick. But
You hated that.
I really did. But it had, but Game of Hearts had Notori in it. And I didn't really realize that until I played the game. And so I was like, okay, I can't put that in romance games because it has Notori.
Who knows what the collection of games are going to be towards the end of the year? Because that's one of the things. That's one of the things that shapes this. So let's say that there are no high-scoring romance games. Maybe then that's the best romance game they have. I know when we talk about LGBTQ that you're going to talk about that. So
you mean the ones for next year?
Well,
for just the game of the year. For
how they've dropped the choice. There's less selection now than there were a couple of years ago.
Oh, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but we'll talk. We got to talk about monsters first.
Oh, true. Okay. We want to wind down. Is this your wind down talk? You're just like, let's move to monsters.
Well, it's monster furry because, you want to explain to them why you don't make a distinction?
So I group monster and furry together because there's not really a clear line between the two. And there's no really consensus in the monster and furry communities about where the line is between the two. So, I'm not even sure what counts as a monster.
You're trying to get canceled, and we're not even at the LGBTQ category yet.
Listen, I'm getting prepared.
You're going to upset the furries more than Gabe has this year.
Exactly. That's the goal. So, is an elf a monster? Is an orc a monster? Is a troll a monster? Is a cat girl a furry? And then what about scalies versus furries? So I don't really want to get bogged down with a category.
And you say you're not part of that community. Methinks she doth protest too much.
I am passionate about a multitude of things. Okay.
So I think this is a situation where somebody on the outside looking in would probably not see much of a distinction between monster and furry.
No. But then you see within the monster and furry communities, they don't even know the lines.
Well, like a previous monster winner, Ravager. That's a freaking dragon. But it also has...
That's a freaking dragon.
But it also has lizard folk and foxkin.
Well, you would also... Could you also categorize the dragon as a lizard?
Well, but I'm just saying that's not even like anthropomorphic. It's just a dragon.
Yeah, it's just a dragon.
So
that's true.
So I think that one of the things that we see in a lot of these monster furry games is in those games themselves, there's a lot of overlap. So what was the one that you really liked that was an open world and it was on an island and it was like the Monster Girl Island. Monster Girl Island, a lot of those characters could be seen as furries.
A lot of them could be seen as scaly. I think there was one girl that was like a shark.
Oh, yeah. But then like Sapphire Safari, there are characters that could count as monsters. There are characters that could count as furries. And I think getting, like I said, bogged down in that is counterintuitive.
Yeah, I think it's a losing battle
for the category. So you will continue to have best monster. And I think most people get that. I think most people
they do
understand that. And what I find fascinating is that you would think there would be... You've only had one game win monster and then harem.
Oh, uh-huh. Should we say it?
Well, we can talk about it later.
Okay.
And you would think that you would have more. You know what could win for a monster and romance? If My Pig Princess finishes and releases on Steam.
Yeah.
I think that game could definitely win romance.
Oh, definitely.
And win monster.
Yeah. It's such a like wholesome, sweet game. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you played it?
I have not, but you raved about it when it came out. So, and I did
because
listen.
Of the art. I really like the art.
I get told so many things about so many games that are absolutely
not your
100% not my flavor. Oh man.
Yeah. Hey, look, if I can talk about this,
then
games. You can talk to me about your spreadsheets.
So many yaoi games.
Okay.
All right.
You're like, oh, that's 6. Oh, that 8.
Whatever. All right. So, but I think monster is aside from that nuance, I think it is clear what counts as that. And so a game with a cat girl in it, or a demon succubus in it, is not going to be in contention for this category. Whereas a game like Nekopara would be. Well, Nekopara is not nearly as popular now as it used to be. It's kind of the wave is past.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, they've had so many games.
Yeah.
So.
But you do have where it's the focus, where it's the primary thing. It's opposed to a side character. And I think we'll talk about that with our next category, unless you have a game you want to talk about, or is this pretty clear?
No, I think that's pretty clear.
Our next category.
Our next category.
LGBTQ. Because we're going to expand on this, next year.
LGBT. Q.
Okay. LGBTQIA. Okay. So
are we going to get bogged down into that?
No. Let's talk about this, because I think it's fair to talk about. So the point of this category is obviously to be inclusive, but more importantly, recognize there are a disproportionate number of gamers in this space who identify as LGBTQIA than as part of the regular population. We have more LGBTQ games in this space than is represented as part of the population. And I think it makes sense because people want to explore sex and sexuality, and they use video games to do it. And if you're in a more marginalized position, there's more of a need for you to find outlets to find a way to explore sex and sexuality. So it makes sense that there are going to be more games representing that, and there are going to be more players. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally cool. However, you're not going to get a asexual game. That's going to defeat the purpose. Now, most asexuals have some type of sexual desire, and they're going to play these games. But a game with an asexual character.
Yeah, it's rare to see one with an asexual character.
You were bringing that up because it's got what we talk about, cock blocking. It's literally in the, you're going to have difficulty doing that. And there are it's one of those. So we're keeping the acronym in just because, yes, most of the games are gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans. And I guess we have to put an asterisk with that because different people have different interpretations about what counts as trans, and I totally respect that.
Yeah, I remember when we first started when I first started the channel, and that was like such a because people kept getting trans and fuda confused.
So let's table that for a second, and we'll talk about that because I think there's more to that going on than just. So let's just table it. So, and now I've completely lost. But like in these games, you do have intersex characters, but most of those intersex characters, because it's fantasy, they're not sterile. They're fertile, fully functional. Whereas we generally just don't see that in reality with humans. So there are things going on because, once again, we are exploring fantasy through fiction. And one of the things that I think may trip up people is that when it comes to certain things, we expect it to only mirror reality. And that's not fair. We're not saying cat girls... Well, a cat girl. What do you get upset about? Like how many ears a cat girl has?
Yeah, because you have the two top ones, and then you don't know if they have like human ears.
And does ears work or anything else? And
or if they're just like flaps of skin.
With LGBTQ stuff, you have people saying, "Well, that's not how trans people really are. That's not how queer people really are. That's not how gay people." What is the pushback against the yaoi games? There's some pushback where it's because they're appealing to a heterosexual women market more than they're appealing to a homosexual male market.
Yes.
And,
that's the pushback.
And so...
Which is crazy.
No. I get where people are coming from. I understand. But these games are for everybody. And we want to see more games for everybody. And I don't want to say, okay, we shouldn't have this flavor because it might offend people who like this flavor. That's the freaking NTR argument. We should just have more games that do both. So, and I guess we can bring it up now, so Futanari, the word hasn't existed for thousands of years, but the concept of an integrated male and female character is a cross-cultural, millennia-old phenomenon.
We talked about that a lot with that one podcast that we did.
So the fact that we have games exploring that makes perfect sense. Now, that is not a trans man or a trans woman. Of course it isn't. But I do think that we are seeing humans who may identify as cisgender using games with Futanari characters as a way to maybe explore parts about themselves on a path to maybe becoming trans. Maybe there are heterosexual men who explore Futanari on a path to exploring bisexuality or homosexuality. It doesn't mean that you are bisexual. That's the problem with, if you play a game with a flavor, it doesn't make you gay or straight or bi or whatever. It's a game. You're exploring it. And I think some people are worried, this is going to make me gay.
I can't.
And that shouldn't be what's happening. And
it is.
If it makes you uncomfortable, don't do it, and that's cool. But don't worry. We call it self-identifying because it's how you identify. And do what you want to do, but don't feel like you can't do something because you're afraid it's going to change who you are. It may help you better understand who you are. Maybe you'll just be like, I'm never going to do that again. I mean, and I want people to be able to, this is your tirade.
Yeah, this is
your thing. This is your you want people safe and healthy outlets. But you've converted us with this. It makes sense. I'm an old guy with old ideas. I'm from the, what do you call them, the 1900s. I'm from the 1900s. And this is the reason why I'm talking this much is because this is the controversial topic, and it's much easier to cancel me and than beat up her. So, but you feel very strongly about this.
I do, yeah. But I am also scared to talk about it. So it does help when you can talk about it for me.
Take one for the team.
Yeah, pretty much.
Speaking of doing things you wouldn't otherwise do.
Yeah, but going back to what you were saying, it is clear that people who may not self-identify as homosexual or trans are using fiction like adult games as a way to better explore themselves on a deeper level. And I understand that people may not feel like every game puts things in an accurate or a positive light, but like I guess you were saying, giving people more options to explore their individual identity will help make the world a better place.
I stole that from you. It's okay.
I mean,
you've only been saying this for like 5 years, not quite 5 years now. So yeah. So, and and it's cool. It's like when people use the term flavor in the wild, when people talk about.
I love when I see that. Yeah.
And it's really, and I really think it's cool how other people making videos, more and more people making videos, they're adopting styles of talking about the games and doing the games in a way that you've done. And you don't resent that. You actually like that because you think...
I'm just do more. Yes.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. Yes.
It's like everybody having a Game of the Year award. It's
yeah. People probably want me to be like, why are they doing that when Annie's been doing it forever? Yeah. And I'm just like, hey, I'm glad other people are doing it. Yeah. Honestly, it takes pressure off of me. so
if other people
they are
doing,
welcome to do it.
So I think with the LGBTQ games, it is disproportionately homosexual.
It is, yes. But I mean, I think it's mainly because, our industry is primarily male, and so it kind of just makes sense that you would see more yaoi games, just as AO3 is primarily female, and that just shapes the types of works that you mostly see there.
And for the people who don't know, mainly the men, AO3 is, that's not fair. You have a lot of people who read erotica because there's a lot of overlap, but it's one of the biggest online fan fiction repositories, and because it also is one of the biggest erotica repositories. And it's mostly female writers, and it makes sense because women are more likely to consume
written erotica
versus men are more likely to consume visual. Yeah. There's great overlap, and you have so many people go, no, I read erotica. No, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah, I know. There's just an average. Yeah. Okay. You don't have to be a part of that average.
Or it's okay. You get all folks, but it's disproportionately female, and because of that, you have more written from a female perspective, more written from that. Just with here, it's more likely to be written from a male perspective, and like Race of Life.
Yes, that game.
I'm sorry, that's just such a wild response. I'm sure we'll hear about it in the comments. You are not saying you hate the game, just like you don't hate being a dick.
No,
you can hate a narrative device. You can hate a character, and you can still like the game. You love Quickie, even though you absolutely hate the ending.
Yes.
So you can have both. It's not binary.
Yeah, and I mean, Race of Life does a lot of things good. Yeah. The racing mini game is fun. So
she also hates racing. So
well, that's not true.
You like Mario Kart.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my racing.
Mario Kart World Game of the Year.
Oh. Did it come out this year?
Yeah.
Oh, it did. Yeah, it did.
Expedition 33 is your game. Would be
your definitely.
Game of the year, so
yeah.
Go, seriously, great game. Mm-hmm. Wait for it to be on sale.
Yes.
I think it's 20% off right now. So there you go. So maybe off more after it wins the Game Awards. If it doesn't win the Game Awards, I swear to God.
That is so stupid.
Jeff needs to be buried in Cheetos and Mountain Dew. I'm putting it out right there.
That's such a specific grave.
Well, because that was his he had a lot of sponsorship.
By Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
he went from
okay. So it's a fitting grave.
Yes, it's a fitting tomb. He may still survive. Entomb him in Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
He'll come out in 700 years as a
warning
vampire.
To all people who want to ruin our industry's gaming events. It would have been like if Baldur's Gate 3 didn't win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would have been stupid.
Yeah, but it can happen, and it does happen. Anytime you have an industry, 90% of the vote are journalists and other quote unquote industry insiders. And to be fair, they are very transparent about who gets a vote. They are very transparent about who gets a vote, and I do appreciate that. Remember, we said there's always a bias, but you want to be transparent.
Yeah.
But there is a separation because of that. But what you really hate is just how it's like an advertisement.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's so stupid. Yeah, if we did watch it.
This is just a generational thing because I enjoy watching it. Even if because I know going in it's
I know going into the Nintendo Direct I'm going to be disappointed.
I thought we weren't bringing that up again.
I guess we are. I know going into a Nintendo Direct, I am going to be disappointed because there are going to be no games that I'm going to like because they don't make games anymore. So, but I still watch them because I like Nintendo, and I am a part of the problem with that because, I bought that for him. I saw it and I was like, nice. Oh, that's perfect because you like to drink in little glasses.
Oh, we're just calling everybody out today.
Sorry.
You like to take little tiny sips. All right. LGBTQ games. But so I think that this is something that we can do a better job talking about as the industry continues to grow. Mm-hmm. But as part of that, we do need to acknowledge that it's taken some hits in the past couple years.
The past couple of years, yeah. If you look at like Steam, the top Steam list of like 2022,
your video
there's so many gay games on there, and you don't really see that this year or last year even. And it's very obvious that
something is happening.
Yeah, there is a shift somewhere, and it is sad to see, but
I think that it is likely that there is some heightened scrutiny on certain flavors, especially LGBTQ
definitely.
flavors.
Yeah, furry flavors. Yeah, if you look back at the 2022 list, there's so many more
furry games.
Yeah.
So we are seeing less games. That doesn't mean no games represented, but we are seeing less games represented, which makes it, in some cases, a harder choice. And I know what game's going to win, and I think I think this is probably going to be one of your more controversial
wins,
outcomes.
Yes. Yeah.
But I know why you're doing it, and it makes perfect sense to me. Hopefully, you will find a way to communicate it with your audience.
Yeah.
I do believe that most people in your audience genuinely understand that you're not trying to grift them and pull a fast one on them and in somebody's pocket. So we'll just see how it goes. But I'm glad to be here on the sidelines with my Pikachu cup.
Yeah. You spilled water.
I can't drink. Yeah. Well, because I was, you know why? Because I was thinking about what they call him in Australia. They call him Pikachu.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a
disgusting.
pika.
Yeah.
What is it you with in Australia, man?
A lot of things.
To all of our Australian patrons, I apologize on her behalf.
Fine. I'm sorry.
All right. What else we got? Oh,
I think that was it. Did you want to?
Talk about games. Can a game win more than one category?
Yes, because Subverse, if you remember last year, won so many categories. They won Best Harem, Best Monster, Best Art, and Best Music. So I think, so Subverse is kind of an outlier with these games.
Yeah, this was a multi-million-dollar production going up against games with one developer. Okay.
Yeah, so it did feel a bit unfair, and I get that. Look. But it did, it still failed to be Game of the Year.
Because it couldn't get out of its own way. Subverse should have been Game of the Year if it didn't step on its own fucking dick multiple times. It is ridiculous how a game with that much goodwill, that much money, and that good of a development studio was just unable to seal the deal. It's just crazy.
Oh yeah, it's really disappointing.
And it's such a good. The UI is incredible.
Oh
the music was incredible. The animations and the art were so far beyond what anyone else is doing. And if you look at the complaints, they'll be like, well, the characters look too plastic, or I saw people like, well, I didn't like how the semen looked, and all of this.
I know. It's just like, that's it.
But think about that.
Yeah.
Literally, it's so amazing how that game did not do better.
Yeah, I've made lots of videos on that game, and so I don't know if we could go more into it other than just being angry. So
you're angry about it because you've decided to be angry this episode. I am just bewildered by it was such a great, and it would have done so much for the industry for it to truly realize the potential it had at launch. And that is heartbreaking to just see that, because how much time will it take for the next production? Because this one did not deliver to its potential, how much longer will it take the next big game to come? Now, on the flip side, when we do get those big games making, the hundreds of millions of dollars, then that's when we get, the bigger corporations coming in, and that's a whole other set of problems. So maybe Subverse not realizing its full potential will end up helping the industry, stave off the wolves for a little bit longer. So
you want to know its average right now?
What?
On Steam?
I don't want to know.
You don't want to know?
Dude, whatever.
It's in the hundreds. Like peak concurrent player.
Yeah.
It's like in the hundreds right now.
It's okay. It's probably being beaten by Summer Clover.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah.
It's wild. All right. I think that's so. I mean, a game can
be both categories or a lot of categories.
I think it's highly unlikely.
But it is highly unlikely. I think Subverse just, it is such a unique outlier that it had to be, it qualified for so many things. But I don't think, unless we get another kind of Subverse situation, that is probably not going to happen again.
Summertime Saga. When Summertime Saga finally finishes,
but
it could be best art.
Okay, all right.
It could.
I do like the art.
It could be best harem.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's not going to be Game of the Year.
Yeah.
I mean, who is it going to compete with?
But that's when it eventually finishes.
But you were
and
asking
if anything, it already has an ending.
Well,
but who cares?
You were asking for a scenario, and I think,
okay, fine. A scenario when we're all old and decrepit. That's the scenario. Okay.
So much hate this episode. All right.
I am pretty hateful, yeah.
But I think aside from the stress that you're under getting all of this done and everything, I think explaining and talking about, because this really is supposed to be a celebration of all of the cool things that have come out this year, and you've had 3 lists now with some of the best games.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
People, that resonates.
And I think
with people.
Resonates.
And then next week you're going to have the top Japanese games.
Yeah. Next week I'm going to start hashing out the fucking
and then
videos.
You have the top new Patreons, otherwise known as the AI list.
Listen, I already made the AI video for patrons.
Yeah. And
so I'm hoping that there's going to be a level of understanding between this, because again, if you go back to the 2022, there were probably no AI games in that list, but it's just what's here now. And it's I don't know, what am I going to do? Fight the market? How am I going to do that?
So you'll talk about that later.
I'll talk about that later.
And then we've got top Patrons overall.
Yeah, top patrons overall, which is literally just the same.
Well, it's not. There's been some shift this year. I think.
That's true. There is some shift.
But I think you use that as an opportunity to because obviously these games are very popular because people are still paying for them.
Yes.
So customers want to know what's changed, what's been updated. Should I be going out and back and checking out this game yet? Yeah. And I think that provides a valuable service. And then, of course, the top new Steam list, which how many 100 games are going to be? That every year that just gets more and more games.
And bigger. I don't know. It's going to be long.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen one of those before, it takes her that video
days.
takes her that to plan. That's a month in advance.
Oh, to plan?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the actual making of it.
Because you compile all the games, and you compile about the top 7% of games overall, and then you get the final scores, and then you call them, and you get to about top 3%.
I talked about it at the beginning how I do this, and it's
then
so many variables.
And then we have Game of the Year. And then
Game of the Year awards.
Yeah, the Game of the Year awards, which is the Game of the Year and the other things.
Yeah.
And then we will be back with a podcast for Kentucky Christmas from Kyoto. All right, we'll be coming at you from Kyoto. Eating my Christmas chicken.
Eating chicken. I'm excited.
It should be good.
It should be good.
Yes. We'll talk more about Kentucky Christmas. And then so I think that's what you've got planned for next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And probably some news. Hopefully nothing horrible will happen.
Hopefully nothing horrible will happen. I cross your fingers. Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode of Shame Free Gaming, be sure to check out my YouTube channel, my Patreon, and my Discord. Also, all of the games that we talked about can be found on my Patreon, Sex Positive Gaming. And I will see you next time.
Apologies to all Australians and fans of Race of Life.
I'm not sorry.